The wrestling world is exploding right now, and what I'm about to tell you will shake the very foundation of everything you thought you knew about the Bloodline. Sources close to WWE management are furious about what happened behind closed doors, and Roman Reigns' own family might have just committed the ultimate betrayal that could end his career forever. Jacob Fatu was spotted entering Mercy General Hospital in Tampa at 2:47 a.m. this morning, and what transpired in that sterile hospital room will make your blood boil. This isn't just another wrestling storyline. People, this is real, this is personal, and this could destroy the most dominant faction in WWE history. But before I expose the shocking truth about what Jacob Fatu really said to Roman Reigns in that hospital bed, you need to understand the web of lies, manipulation, and family dysfunction that led to this moment. Because what you're about to hear will make you question everything you've ever believed about loyalty, blood, and brotherhood in professional wrestling. Roman Reigns has been hospitalized for what WWE officially calls exhaustion and dehydration. But my sources inside the company are telling a completely different story. The tribal chief didn't just collapse from being tired, he suffered what medical professionals are calling a severe anxiety attack brought on by the immense pressure of carrying the entire company on his shoulders for over 4 years. And here's where it gets absolutely infuriating. While Roman was fighting for his mental health, struggling with panic attacks that left him gasping for air backstage at Monday Night Raw, his own cousin Jacob Fatu was allegedly making backroom deals with Triple H and the creative team. The same Jacob Fatu who stood by Roman's side, who helped him dominate SmackDown, who we all thought was the most loyal enforcer in the Bloodline. The hospital security footage that was leaked to TMZ shows Jacob Fatu arriving alone, no Solo Sikoa, no Tama Tonga, no other members of the Bloodline family. He walked through those hospital corridors like a man on a mission, and when he emerged 3 hours later, witnesses say his entire demeanor had changed. He looked guilty. What could possibly take 3 hours to discuss with someone who's supposedly just resting and recovering? What conversation could be so intense, so emotionally charged, that it would leave the typically stoic Jacob Fatu looking like he'd just witnessed a funeral? The answer will make you sick. According to a nurse who was on duty that night and who spoke to us on condition of anonymity, the conversation between Roman and Jacob wasn't the supportive family visit that WWE wants you to believe. It was a confrontation that got so heated, hospital staff had to check on the room multiple times because of raised voices and what sounded like furniture being moved around. The big guy wasn't there to comfort anybody, the nurse told us. He was angry, really angry. And by the time he left, the patient was in worse condition than when he arrived. We had to increase his medication and call in additional psychiatric support. This is where the story gets absolutely disgusting. And I warn you, what I'm about to reveal will change how you see Jacob Fatu forever. Multiple sources within WWE are now confirming that Jacob Fatu didn't visit Roman Reigns to wish him well or offer family support. He went there to deliver an ultimatum. The ultimatum was simple but brutal: step aside as the head of the table, or Jacob Fatu would expose the real reason behind Roman's hospitalization to the entire WWE universe. We're talking about private medical information, personal family drama, and secrets that could destroy Roman's carefully crafted image as the unshakable tribal chief. But it gets worse. Jacob Fatu allegedly told Roman that he'd already been in talks with Solo Sikoa about taking over leadership of the Bloodline, and that the entire Samoan wrestling dynasty was ready to move forward without him. Can you imagine? The man Roman brought into WWE, the man he elevated from relative obscurity, was now ready to stab him in the back when he was at his most vulnerable. The medical records that were accidentally left unsecured, and yes, we've seen them, show that Roman's condition deteriorated significantly after Jacob's visit. His blood pressure spiked, his heart rate became irregular, and doctors had to implement additional monitoring because they were genuinely concerned about his physical well-being. This is a man who has carried WWE through some of its most challenging periods, who worked through injuries, who sacrificed his personal relationships and mental health for the company, and his own family was ready to throw him away the moment he showed weakness. It's absolutely revolting. But here's where Jacob Fatu's visit becomes even more sinister and calculating. Sources inside WWE Creative are telling us that Jacob had already pitched storyline ideas for WrestlePalooza 2025 that would completely write Roman Reigns out of the main event picture. He went to that hospital not as a concerned cousin, but as a businessman protecting his own interests. The proposed storyline would have Jacob Fatu revealing that Roman's hospitalization was actually a cover-up for a massive gambling addiction that had compromised his ability to perform. It would paint Roman as unreliable, unstable, and unfit to represent the Bloodline or WWE. The story was so detailed, so vicious, that even the notoriously cutthroat creative team found it disturbing. And the timing couldn't be more suspicious. With WrestlePalooza 2025 just weeks away, and Roman scheduled for what could be the biggest match of his career against Cody Rhodes, suddenly his own family member is ready to destroy him? The wrestling world is built on loyalty and respect, but Jacob Fatu apparently missed that memo. What makes this betrayal even more infuriating is that Roman Reigns literally changed Jacob Fatu's life. Before joining the Bloodline, Jacob was struggling in smaller promotions, dealing with legal issues, trying to rebuild his reputation after years of setbacks. Roman vouched for him, brought him into WWE, gave him a platform to succeed, and treated him like the brother he never had. And how does Jacob repay that loyalty? By walking into a hospital room where Roman is fighting the biggest battle of his life, not against another wrestler, but against his own mind and body, and threatening to destroy everything Roman has built. It's the kind of betrayal that makes your stomach turn and your blood pressure rise. The hospital staff we spoke with described Roman's condition after Jacob left as heartbreaking. This is a man who has stared down Brock Lesnar, who has dominated The Undertaker, who has carried the company through a global pandemic, reduced to tears by his own family members' cruelty and manipulation. But wait, because somehow this story gets even more infuriating. Our investigation has uncovered that Jacob Fatu's hospital visit wasn't a spontaneous decision. It was planned, coordinated with certain members of WWE management who were allegedly growing tired of Roman's demands for creative control and higher compensation. Yes, you heard that right. There are people within WWE who were using Roman's mental health crisis as an opportunity to diminish his influence and power within the company. They sent Jacob Fatu as their messenger, their enforcer, to deliver a message that Roman's time as the face of the company was over. The level of calculated cruelty here is unprecedented in professional wrestling. We're talking about a multi-billion-dollar corporation using family dynamics and personal trauma as weapons in corporate politics. It's absolutely disgusting and shows how little these people care about the human beings who make their product possible. What's even more sickening is that Jacob Fatu apparently recorded parts of his conversation with Roman using his phone. Sources tell us he was building evidence to support his claims about Roman's instability and unprofessional behavior, evidence that could be used to justify removing Roman from major storylines and reducing his role in the company. Recording someone without their consent while they're in a hospital bed, dealing with severe anxiety and depression, is not just morally reprehensible, it's potentially illegal. But Jacob Fatu apparently didn't care about laws, ethics, or basic human decency when he saw an opportunity to advance his own career. The worst part? Roman Reigns has reportedly been struggling with panic attacks and severe anxiety for months, but he kept performing, kept showing up, kept being the professional he's always been, because he didn't want to let down the fans or the company. His dedication and work ethic are legendary, but instead of receiving support during his darkest hour, he got betrayed by family. And now, with WrestlePalooza 2025 approaching, Roman is not just dealing with his mental health challenges, he's also facing the reality that his own family has turned against him. How is he supposed to focus on his match, on his performance, on giving the fans what they deserve, when he can't trust the people who are supposed to be closest to him? This situation exposes everything that's wrong with the wrestling business today. It's not enough to be talented, dedicated, and professional, you also have to constantly watch your back, even from your own family members. The pressure, the politics, the backstabbing, it's enough to destroy anyone's mental health. Jacob Fatu's hospital visit represents the worst aspects of professional wrestling, the exploitation of personal struggles for business gain, the willingness to destroy relationships for temporary advantage, and the complete disregard for human dignity when money and power are at stake. But here's what makes me absolutely furious about this entire situation: Jacob Fatu could have been a source of strength for Roman during this difficult time. He could have offered genuine support, encouragement, and family loyalty when Roman needed it most. Instead, he chose manipulation, threats, and betrayal. The Samoan wrestling tradition is built on respect, honor, and family unity, but Jacob Fatu's actions represent everything that tradition stands against. He's not just betraying Roman Reigns, he's betraying decades of Samoan wrestling legacy and the values that made their family respected throughout the industry. As WrestlePalooza 2025 approaches, we're left wondering, can Roman Reigns overcome not just his opponent in the ring, but also the psychological warfare being waged against him by his own family? Can he perform at the highest level while dealing with anxiety, depression, and the pain of family betrayal? And what about Jacob Fatu? Has he calculated correctly that destroying Roman will benefit his own career, or has he made the biggest mistake of his life? Because one thing is certain, the wrestling world is watching, and fans don't forget when someone crosses the line from competition to cruelty. This story isn't over, and neither is the fallout from Jacob Fatu's hospital visit. Stay tuned to WWE Reporter for more explosive updates as we continue investigating this shocking betrayal that could change the landscape of professional wrestling forever.